e tutto brilla di colore. Una farfalla vola qua e là e si riposa sopra un fiore. Il cielo è grande sopra la città e tutto abbraccia come il mare.
This is the Fiat 500, a car that started a whole new trend in Italian motoring. The humble super mini rose to global stardom and is now a true legend. The Fiat 500 is a car that stirs up emotions, it evokes memories, and there's always really good stories to tell about them. Mine was based in a little place in Italy called Cuneo, which is where my great-grandparents lived. The owner, funnily enough, Giuseppe, he could have encountered my grandparents, he might have even taken them for a spin in this. How cool would that be? Oozing style and chic, it's remained at the forefront of fashion for 6 decades and has inspired countless designers and artists while capturing the hearts of millions across the globe. This year, the 500, one of Italy's greatest exports, turned 60 years old, and during its first production run, over 4 million were sold, 400,000 of which are still on the road in Italy today. Not only is it beautiful, special, and eternally youthful, there's also that little something that you can't quite put your finger on. It's a car that you admire, and it's a car that you fall in love with.
I'll be honest, I bought it and I thought I'll have it for a few years, hopefully it'll go up in value, I'll sell it and buy something else. But I've absolutely fallen in love with it and couldn't possibly think of getting rid of it now.
Because they're so cute and so lovely, I guess they do kind of become part of the family.
We bought this instead of an ISA, and yeah, you couldn't prize it out of us now. You can't drive it without smiling.
I've always loved classic cars, but what really attracted me to the Fiat 500 and why I love them so much is because I just remember when I was little, my mum always telling me about my gran would pick her up from school in a little Fiat 500 with a fold-back roof, and that story always stuck with me.
Well, they're just full of character. It's small, it's like a little go-kart. It's just a huge amount of fun. Those who haven't seen them think it's the cutest thing they've ever seen. There's nothing else that looks like it. The Italians are just very good at designing stuff.
It actually all started when I was 9 years old. A neighbour of ours, an elderly gentleman that lived down the road, he had a beige one, and for some reason I kind of became fixated with it. Every now and then his garage door would be open and I'd be like, no mum, I'm not going home, I'm going to sit on the pavement and I'm going to look at it until he closes the door. I enjoy driving it so much that I think this is the one that I'll never sell. The Fiat 500 is a classic example of they just got it right. You could park it up in Chelsea, people go, oh how lovely, or you could park it, somewhere in a completely different setting and people have the same reaction and it sort of fits in every single class of society.
When it comes to design and style, the Italians pretty much have it nailed. In trying to create something that appeals to the millions, it doesn't necessarily mean it's always available to the masses. But the attraction of something so desirable is that it's unique, it's something that not everybody has. It's something I can totally relate to. I have two, and not only do I use them regularly, but since I bought them I've been getting requests to use them as wedding cars. Production for the classic 500 ceased in 1975, and throughout its life very little changed. Fiat knew it was onto a winner. People simply couldn't get enough of its stylish design and functionality. Plus it was famous for its mechanical reliability and excellent fuel economy. It was so popular that Fiat were reluctant to make any changes to it. Once the 500 name had been retired, Fiat explored other small city cars. But it would be over 30 years later that the 500 name would be revived. It was a different era for motoring, but the same principles applied. One look at the modern day Fiat 500 and you can instantly spot the DNA from the original. By modern standards, the new 500 was dinky, and many of the design features that made it so successful in previous guise were carried across. Things like the cute body style, cheeky face, and simple yet functional interior mirrored that of the original. More importantly, the 500 was an ideal city car choice for fashion-conscious buyers, and the new model brought with it a whole new proposition. You could tailor your very own 500 with all manner of options and combinations, different colours, stickers, wheels and interior features, making it more of a statement of the owner's personality, rather than just a means of getting from A to B. That made it the ultimate fashion accessory. Put simply, 500 was back in a big way as motorists flocked to dealerships. It attracted a wider generation of drivers from young to old, students to high flyers. They were all the same car, but they each had their own unique look. Even celebrities were drawn to the baby Fiat, with models like Eva Herzigova, Elle Macpherson and Jodie Kidd snapped behind the wheel. It soon became the must-have accessory. But it wasn't just A-listers that fell in love with it. Fashion designers like Gucci and Giorgio Armani wanted to be associated with the 500 brand, and even special edition models were created. All of this enhanced the 500 style icon status. But while the motoring world had evolved, so too had the notoriously critical motoring press, who would critique the car and its ability as a small city car rather than be charmed by its fashion label seal of approval.
I think we see time and again when car companies try and use their heritage to create new vehicles, how hard it can be and how difficult it is to carry the charm of the original into the modern day, and Fiat really have aced it.
The modern Fiat 500, I mean, they've got that spot on. The design just works. It's a great interpretation of the classic, and it's so cute, isn't it? I mean, you look at it, it makes you go, oh.
What Fiat have done is taken all the cool bits, all the great bits of the original, the design, the front grille, the dashboard, all the fantastic things that made the original so great, and transferred it to these modern times.
Fiat obviously looked at what was happening on a global market. I think when you're a car manufacturer, sometimes you need to look backwards to go forwards. You need to look at your history, and you need to look at your DNA and where you come from and what made your company so successful.
The 500 is a charming sort of look back to that era, but it also delivers technology, it's economical, it's spacious, and it's safe. So it's got all of the retro personality wrapped up in a car that still works extremely well in today's age. It's a little city car, so ultimately its small dimensions means that it's fun to drive around the city, but it's got so much more than that, and that's character, and that's something you can't really build into a car.
Spirit of the original is definitely there in the new Fiat 500. You can see that immediately. The moment you see that familiar silhouette on the road, you know exactly what you're looking at. It's undoubtedly nostalgic. As soon as you see the car, you just feel like you're looking at an old version of a new car.
They've absolutely nailed the charm of the original into a modern package. That is an incredibly hard thing to do with the modern regulations around cars. But there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that the majority of 500 buyers are doing it because it captures that spirit. It's a cute, small, lovable car with more charm than perhaps many, if any, other vehicles on the road today.
Fiat's decision to revive the 500 has been a smart move. It has maintained its charm, yet it's attracted a whole new type of customer. Type that is up to date with the latest fashion trends and technological advances, the type who buys a car to reflect their personality and individual style, rather than driving something that's just a tool to get to work and back. That's not the end of the 500 story. This model is simply the latest chapter. And let's be honest, if the current 500 looks this good 60 years on, who knows just how good it'll look in another 60 years.